Let me be real with you right now, and I need you to hear this clearly, because what happened in Japan was not just a concert moment or a viral clip or some industry milestone that gets thrown around for a few days and forgotten. What happened in Japan was history. Not the kind of history they put in textbooks that you sleep through in school. The kind of history that you feel in your chest. The kind that makes you stop whatever you were doing and just stare at the screen in disbelief, replaying it over and over again, asking yourself how one human being from a small island in the Caribbean managed to conquer the entire world without ever changing who he is. And if you still are not convinced, if you are still out here trying to downplay this man's legacy, then sit down, because this story is about to reset everything you thought you knew. Welcome to Pop Showroom, where we bring you the stories behind the headlines. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button right now, because this story goes deeper than anything you've seen in the mainstream media. Spotify does not invite just anybody to their Billions Club event. Let that sink in for a second. This is one of the most exclusive music events on the planet. You do not get called to that table because you got lucky on a playlist or because a song went viral for 2 weeks. You get called because your numbers are so astronomical that even the people who work with numbers every single day had to look twice and confirm what they were seeing was real. Spotify is a company that has seen everything, from global pop juggernauts to underground legends, and they looked at Bad Bunny's streaming data and said this man deserves his own moment, not a shared spotlight, not a panel, his own dedicated event in Japan on the other side of the world from Puerto Rico, because his reach has no borders and his music has no language barrier, and his fans exist everywhere on this earth. And Japan, of all places, think about that for a second. Japan is not a country that just opens its arms to any outsider. Japanese culture runs deep, tradition runs deep, and the music scene there is one of the most unique and particular in the entire world. Getting Japanese fans to go absolutely crazy for a Latin trap artist from Vega Baja, Puerto Rico is not something that happens by accident. That is not marketing. That cannot be manufactured. That is pure, undeniable, unstoppable cultural force. When Bad Bunny walked into that room in Japan for the Spotify Billions Club event, he was not just representing himself. He was representing every kid in the Caribbean who was ever told their sound was too regional, their language was too specific, their culture was too niche to ever go global. He walked in there and proved every single one of those people completely wrong. But here is where it gets even more powerful. Here is where the story shifts from impressive to something that genuinely destroys you emotionally if you really love music. During the performance of De Todas Formas Te Amaré, one of the most intimate and emotionally devastating songs in his entire catalog, the Japanese crowd sang every single word back to him. Every single word in Spanish. These are people who in many cases do not speak Spanish as their primary language, people who grew up on the other side of the globe from where that song was written, and they had taken the time to learn those lyrics because that song meant something to them. Because his music crossed every boundary that the music industry tells you cannot be crossed. The look on Bad Bunny's face in those moments is something you cannot fake. That is a man being humbled by the universe. That is an artist watching the impossible become real right in front of his eyes. And yet, and this is the part that gets under your skin, this is the part that keeps people like me up at night shaking their head, there are still people out here trying to argue that Bad Bunny is not the biggest artist in the world right now. After all of this, after years of being the most streamed artist on Spotify, back to back to back, after sold-out stadium tours across the United States, Latin America, Europe, after collaborations with everyone from Drake to Rosalia to Kendall Jenner as a cultural moment in and of itself, after a Super Bowl halftime appearance, after fashion campaigns, magazine covers, acting roles, and a level of cultural penetration that most artists spend their entire careers chasing and never reach. After all of that evidence stacked up to the ceiling, there are people who still want to sit in their corners and debate this like it is even a debate anymore. The thing is, a lot of those arguments come from a place of discomfort rather than logic, because Bad Bunny being the biggest artist in the world disrupts a very comfortable story that the mainstream music industry has been telling for decades. The story that says global domination only comes from singing in English. The story that says urban music from Latin America is a trend, a moment, a seasonal thing that will fade when the next wave comes. Bad Bunny was supposed to peak and pull back by now, according to that story. He was supposed to be a footnote. Instead, he is the headline every single time. He releases an album and it breaks records before the week is even over. He drops a single and it goes to #1 in countries that had never charted a song in Spanish before. He performs in Japan for Spotify's Billions Club event, and the crowd knows every word. The story they were selling was wrong, and Bad Bunny has been proving it wrong for years without even raising his voice about it. What makes it even special is how he moves, because Bad Bunny is not out here doing the most to beg for mainstream validation. He is not code switching for American radio. He is not softening his sound to fit into boxes that were never built for him. He raps in Puerto Rican Spanish with slang and cadence and references that are specific to his culture, and the world followed him into that world instead of waiting for him to come out and meet them halfway. That is power. That is a level of artistic confidence that very few people ever achieve, and even fewer maintain when the pressure of global fame starts pushing from every direction. Think about what he did with Un Verano Sin Ti. That album was not supposed to work by industry logic. It was long, it was genre-bending, it was emotionally complicated, it leaned heavily into Afro-Caribbean rhythms and regional sounds that radio programmers and label executives had historically treated as unmarketable outside specific demographics, and it became one of the most streamed albums in Spotify history. It got Grammy nominations, it sat at the top of charts for months. Critics who had never taken reggaeton seriously suddenly had to sit down and write think pieces about how they had underestimated not just an artist, but an entire cultural movement. All because one guy from Puerto Rico trusted his gut and refused to shrink himself for anybody.
The Japan moment is beautiful for exactly that reason. It is the physical, visible, undeniable proof of what happens when an artist stays true. When he went to Japan representing Spotify's Billions Club, he was not there as a novelty. He was not there as a curiosity. He was there as a peer, as an equal, as someone whose impact on global music culture is as significant as anyone alive today. The Japanese fans who showed up were not there out of casual interest. They were there as devotees. They had listened, they had studied, they had connected to something in his music that transcended every cultural and linguistic difference between their world and his. And when that crowd sang De Todas Formas Te Amaré back to him in a room in Japan, that was the universe confirming what anyone paying attention already knew. Bad Bunny is not a regional star who got lucky on the global stage. He is not a trend that overstayed its welcome. He is not a moment. He is a movement. And that movement has been building for years with a consistency and an integrity that is genuinely rare in this industry. The numbers back it up, the sold-out venues back it up, the Spotify records back it up, and now Japan backs it up in the most human, emotional, chills-down-your-spine way possible. A crowd on the other side of the world singing his songs back to him like those songs were written for them. Because in a way, they were. That is what great music does. It finds you wherever you are and makes you feel like the artist was speaking directly to your life. So the next time someone tries to come at you with that tired argument, the next time somebody wants to sit across from you and debate whether Bad Bunny really belongs in that conversation with the all-time greats, just remember Japan. Remember the Spotify Billions Club event. Remember the look on his face when thousands of people who grew up speaking a completely different language sang his words back to him with everything they had. Remember that this man built a global empire without ever betraying who he is or where he comes from. And then ask yourself what more proof anyone could possibly need. Because at this point, the only thing left to say is what it has always been. Bad Bunny world domination, and it is just getting started. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.